What's up, y'all? Okay, so I wanted to talk to y'all today about why we moved from the other place we were just at. So y'all know I was moving from the original place I was at, where I've been at for like the past 2-3 years, because there was a guy complaining over us, and it was getting to the point where like he would stomp on the floor even if we were just talking, or if you close the door, flush the toilet, like he would just stomp on the floor for everything, right? So, and it was like loud stomping, like to the point where it made the floor under me shake, and he was over me, and it made like the windows shake and the whole nine. So he was doing the most, right? So they asked me could I leave, but they were telling me to leave, type of thing. So then they called me up, like, we got this apartment directly behind yours. I mean, like, directly. I could see my old place from the place we were literally just at. So I'm like, cool, yeah, I'm moving to there. It was only $150 more. It was a 2 bedroom. I'm like, well, let's do it. So we get there. Now, our first night there, it was one of those like in the ground apartments. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Like floor, like ground level. Like the only thing on the other side of my wall is like mud, like mud, dirt, whatever you want to call it, right? So I get there. And I'm like, okay, I know this is an apartment in the ground. So I'm like, I'm going to be bothered with some insects, and probably insects that people aren't usually bothered with. I knew that going into it. I saw that coming. I was like, okay. The first night we get there, it was a centipede on the, what is that? The baseboards. And I'm like, okay. I'm starting to think like a centipede means the apartment is about to really suck ass, because that's what was crawling on the floor of my first apartment, and that one really sucked ass. But this one was worse. So fast forward, we were there for about 3 weeks. Fast forward, there's like this weird smell, and mind you, there were always centipedes around. But I'm like, I just let the centipedes be, to be honest with you, because centipedes are only coming to eat something smaller. So I was like, if all I'm seeing is centipedes, then they're probably doing their job. So fast forward it like 3 weeks. We've been there for 3 weeks, and there was just like this weird smell when you walk in. Because when you first walk in, it was like this big room. I used it as the toy room, and I'm just like, bro, it smells so fucking weird in here. What the fuck is this smell? I asked my son. He said he had an accident somewhere in there on the rug. He was all scared to tell me and crying and boo-hooing and all of that. So I'm just like, all right. So I put the rug like outside. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna put the rug outside. It was one of the rugs that kind of came already in the apartment, so I didn't know what to do with it, and I don't have a carpet cleaner, so I'm like, well, I can't throw it away, and I don't know how to wash an entire rug, and I couldn't tell where it was because the rug was like a microfiber kind of thing, so I couldn't tell where it was. So I just put it outside over the rails, and then the scent just was still there. So I opened up all the doors. I put the fans like in the screen door, so like we was getting like mad air, but I'm like, the smell is still here. So I'm like, okay, I just left the fucking rugs out there. I tried bringing them back in, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll just leave them out there. So I did that, and I'm like, the smell is still here, yo. But my mom came 2 weeks ago. I don't think we've been in that apartment now for like 3 weeks. I think this was the third week. So 3 weeks ago, that Friday, she came, and we was with her. She came from Texas, so we was with her at her hotel playing in a pool and all of that. And we come back, and my grandma and my sister came with me, and I'm happy they did, even though at first I'm like, you motherfuckers need to go home. But but I'm happy they did, because they turned on all my lights. I'm a person that can be in the dark for like long periods of time, but they turned on my lights when you first walk in, and I'm like, what is this shit on the wall? I'm gonna insert a video of that here. You know what, Bob, you can talk. You like to have broadcast. Stand up. Stretch your legs. Can you do this? March. It's July 5th, 2019. All right. And something's growing on the walls. I've only been here 1 month. But yeah, so I'm like, there's fucking mold. There's mold on my walls. Wow. Wow. But it makes total sense, because that apartment never had any like the air couldn't move around. Like I had washed clothes once, right? So the clothes were like wet, but I like hung them on something. They weren't like dripping wet, but they were like, when your clothes get out the washer type wet. So I just hung them up because I couldn't find my quarters. It was some type of situation like that. I couldn't find my quarters. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna hang them up, put both of the fans on them. It's a nice open apartment, but real open with no air circulation, I found out. Because it's like the next day, like everything that you touched in the whole apartment was wet. So I'm like, dog, I think between it being no air circulation, and I was telling them that, I have been telling them that since I got there, like, y'all need to make it so that I can open these windows up some more or all the way. Like, there's no air circulation here. I'm like, we do too much. I think the guy before us, because I know who it was. I don't know him, but like I could see the apartment from my old apartment, so it was easy to see who was coming in and out. But he was just one guy. Like, you get me and the kids in there, and now you got 3 kids and an adult taking a bath every day, and then you got me who take multiple baths every day. All of that moisture is just staying in the air, and then you got me cooking 3 meals a day, and you know what I'm saying. It was just like a breeding ground for moisture. With one dude, he probably didn't even bathe every day, and guys don't really be cooking like that. They be ordering shit. So, or they be getting stuff you can just pick up and eat. It makes sense. I'm not mad. I'd probably be doing the same thing. Probably not. But it's just like, folks. So I found out about that on Friday. Honestly, to be honest with y'all, my moms had already left that night. I'm like, damn, we ain't got nowhere to go for tonight, so we gonna have to stay here. I woke up the next morning, y'all, and it was something on the baseboard, but you know what I'm saying? I thought it was just another centipede or something, or some type of insect. And I'm like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not about to work myself up about that. It's early in the morning. I'm really not about to do that. So I go back in my room, and I'm one of those people who will walk back and forth. Like, who will go to the kitchen and be like, I want some grapes. Go back to the kitchen, go to the room, sit down, eat the grapes, go back, be like, you know what, I want some water. Go back. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those kind of people. So I kept walking back and forth between the kitchen and my room, but you had to go walk like all the way around it's like the apartment was U-shaped. And the kitchen was like here, and my room was like here. So I had to keep walking around the whole apartment just to go back. That apartment was quite the fucking work. That's a big ass apartment. It really was. It was really nice. It has such nice potential. I would have really liked to stay, if I'm being honest, but it's just like, what the fuck? So I'm sorry, I'm outside. Y'all know I don't do insects, but obviously I'm outside. But so what else? Okay. But okay, y'all, so I'm walking back to the kitchen, and I stop. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I look at the floor, y'all, and I kid y'all, I want to get a picture for y'all, like do a little video of it, but I was too fucking creeped out. I go in there, and about halfway in between, in that first room when you walk through the door, there's a big ass worm. I kid y'all not, like a big, huge worm. And I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? So that means that's what I saw on the baseboard. Big as fuck, y'all. If I'm guessing, it had to be like as long as my hand or longer. And it was like as thick as my thumb. Y'all, I was like, oh, hell no. I screamed. And then it like rolled up, like half of it rolled up into a circle. And I'm just like, I'm out of here, yo. So I went back to my room. I'm like, oh, fuck no. Fuck this shit. I literally paid my 11-year-old and my 5-year-old at the time to kill that worm. Like, I could not do it. And then it had the nerve to be in the walking space to go out the door. But the biggest problem was that I'm like, it was going to that mold. So here's my thing, right? This is how I feel about insects. I'm like, if you let one of them know that they can come and do something and they go back into the other ones, now you got a gang of worms when you walk into your apartment, like, this is not okay. So I'm like, it's gonna have to kind of die. So yeah. It took them about 30 minutes to kill it. And then I went back in the room and I just was telling my mama about it. And she came and got me. And I was like, ooh, I get to be a daughter today. I get to get taken care of. Because, honey, we was going to go somewhere. Because that was not it. So I was with her. That happened Saturday morning. I was with her Saturday night. No. That must have happened Sunday morning. I'm not sure, y'all. But I know I went with her that night. And then the next day, it was Monday. So that had to have been Sunday night. The next day was Monday. We had a whole funeral to go to. It was at the same place where my brother got buried. That was just a crazy day. All of this happened when I started talking to that guy I was telling y'all about. So it was a very traumatic weekend. He definitely smoothed it out for me. So kudos to him for that. But oh my gosh, guys. So yeah, I was going back and forth with the owner, or whoever, I think was the owner, right? So I was going back and forth with him through email because they wouldn't listen to me all weekend, telling me, oh, we can't call for mode, we can't call the maintenance person for that, blah blah blah. I'm like, bitch, what? I got kids in here. My son's premature, so he got a breathing history thing going on. I'm like, bro, no, we got to go. So they ended up, I was only there for 1 month, but they do a double security deposit. So I ended up getting back my double security deposit, and then half of that rent I had just gave them. Because I remember 3 weeks ago, it was the fucking beginning of the month. Like, I had just paid them that same week this shit happened. So, yeah. Didn't get back all my money. Still actually working on that. But, y'all, so we've been with a family relative. I actually think I just found us a place yesterday. They told me come do the application and bring in a security deposit on Monday. So, y'all know I'm going to go do that. It's starting to kind of feel like a blessing, though, because now I'm finding places that, yeah, granted, they are entirely smaller than where we just were. They're also a lot cheaper than where we just were. And I feel like that's honestly where I needed to put myself. I didn't need to be trying to do $700-$800 apartments. That's just not what I needed to do. No. But, oh my gosh, y'all. And it's just been hard for me right now. I know, I'm going to talk y'all ear off today, I guess. Oh, it only been like 11 minutes. But it's been hard for me, y'all, because I do not like to ask people for nothing. Before we came over here, I had my mom ask the family member if I could even come, or if we could come. And I think that's one of the hardest parts for me, is like asking for something for me and the kids. I think maybe if it was just me, it would have came a little bit like easier to me, or I don't know, but I don't like asking people for shit, so it was just hard for me. But I think it all worked out in the best. So we're gonna see. But I feel good about it right now. I had to just kind of lean into it. I had to lean into the help, because at first I'm like, ugh. But I learned to just lean into it, and it's been good. I can't really complain. It hasn't been that bad. I lost a lot of stuff though. Oh, I want to tell y'all that. But I'm actually not mad now, looking at the space we're gonna potentially have. I'm not mad that all that stuff had to go. So like all my tables, except for like the little kitchen table I had, because you can fold that up. I'm starting to believe that for any kind of apartment situation, you need to be doing like the most folded furniture, small furniture. Like, don't spend a bunch of money on furniture. Now, I was grateful enough to have just found my shit outside, because y'all know that's how I get down. But definitely do not spend a lot of money on real furniture for an apartment. Don't do that, because you never know. It's not yours. I would say you go all out with furniture when you bought that bitch is yours. Because then you can put whatever you want in there, and you're going to be straight. But with these apartments, you be having to move apartments, and then you got to pay people to come move stuff. You might not really have it like that at the time. You might need to move it by yourself or call a relative. And it's just like, bruh, just let it go. Let it go. Because now that I'm looking at the new space, I'm like, wouldn't have been nowhere to put them tables at anyway. I'm about to have to squeeze this little kitchen table in there. But shit, I'm going to make it work. I like little spaces anyway. They're easier to clean. And then you got to realize with apartments, you got to like spray and put stuff down and all of that. So, yeah. Little apartments is where it's at. But alright, y'all, I think I done talked y'all ear off long enough. I was originally out here because I thought I was about to call somebody, but they ain't answering. Even though they told me they was going to be answering. But I digress. I'm about to go back in. It does feel mighty good out here, though. It really does. It felt better out here than it did earlier. It was fucking hot as shit. But alright, y'all. I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace.